Hello everyone, I am Nancy from Statistics Department. Today we are going to learn about the topic correlations. The term correlation is used by a common man without knowing that he is making use of the term correlation. For example, when parents advise the children to work hard so that they may get the good marks, actually they are correlating good marks with hard work. The correlations refers to relationship of two variables or more. For example, relation between height of father and son, yield and rainfall, etc. According to Ya Lun Chow, correlations analysis attempt to determine the degree of relationship between variables. The word relationship is important. It indicates that there is some connections between the variables. It measures the closeness of relationship. Correlation is a numerical measurement showing the degree of correlation between two variables. One variable may be called subject or independent variable and other relative or dependent variable. Dependent variable is measured in terms of subject or independent variable. For example, rainfall and agricultural production. Rainfall is a cause which reflects the agricultural productions, but the agricultural production cannot cause the rainfall. Therefore, rainfall is an independent variable and production is a dependent variable. Types of correlation. In types of correlation, we have the three types. First one is a positive and negative correlation. Second one it is a simple, multiple, total and partial correlation. And the last one it is a linear and non-linear correlation. Positive and negative correlation. Positive and negative correlation depend upon the direction of change of variables. If two variables tend to move together in the same direction, that is, an increase in the values of one variable result into an increase in the value of other variable, or a decrease in the value of one variable result into a decrease in the value of other, then the correlation is called positive correlations. For example, a student's study time is increased, proportionally the marks obtained by student will also increase. Another example, if we get good rainfall, we get good yield of crop. So both the example we can see both the variables move in the same direction. If variables move in the same direction, we call it as a positive correlation. And second one, it is a negative correlation. If two variables tend to move together in opposite direction, so that an increase or decrease in the values of one variable is result into an decrease or an increase in the value of other variable, then the correlation is called negative or inverse correlations. For example, if a person consumes alcohol more, the driving ability will decrease. I'll give another example. If a student spending time on watching TV increases, the marks obtained by student will decreases. So in both the cases, both the variable move in the opposite direction. Then we call it as a negative correlation. The next one, it is a simple correlation. When we study only two variables, then we call it as a simple correlation. If we study more than two variables simultaneously, then we call it as a multiple correlation. Partial correlation. The study of two variables excluding some other variable is called partial correlation. For example, we study price and demand eliminating the supply side. In total correlation, all the facts are taken into account. And the next type, it is a linear correlation. If the ratio of change between two variables is a constant, then there will be a linear correlation between them. Consider the following example. The ratio of change between the variable is same. If you plot these on the graph, we get a straight line. In a non-linear correlation, the amount of change in one variable does not bear a constant ratio of amount of change in the other variable. The graph of non-linear relationship will form a curve. Method of studying correlation. Correlations between two variables can be measured by graphical and mathematical method. Scatter and simple graph are two important graphical methods, while Correl-Pearson coefficient of correlation, Spearman rank correlation, concurrent deviations method are algebraic method used for measuring correlation. Scatter diagram method. This is the simplest method of finding out whether there is any relationship present between two variables by plotting the values on a chart, known as scatter diagram. In this method, the given data are plotted on a graph paper in the form of dots. X variable are plotted on the horizontal axis and Y variable on the vertical axis. Thus, we have the dot and we can know the scatter of the various points. This will show the type of correlation. You can see the diagram. If the plotted points form a straight line running from lower left hand corner to upper right hand corner, then there is a perfect positive correlation. We could denote it as this one, it is R equal to plus or minus plus 1. On the other hand, if the points are straight line having a falling trend from the upper left hand corner to lower right hand corner, it reveals that there is a perfect negative correlation. If the plotted point falls in a narrow band and the points are rising from lower left hand corner to upper right hand corner, there will be a high degree or positive correlation between the variable. If the plotted point fall a narrow band from upper left hand corner to lower right hand corner, then there will be a high degree negative correlation. If the plotted points lie scattered all over the diagram, then there is no correlations between the variables. So, merits of the scatter diagram. It is a very simple and attractive method for finding correlations. So, without using the formula, we can find the relationship between the variables. So, it is very easy to understand. We can get a rough idea at a glance whether it is a positive or negative correlation. So, these are the merits of the scatter diagram, but one of the limitations of this method, that is, we cannot get the exact degree of correlations between two variables because it gives only a rough idea. The next method, it is a simple graph. The values of two variables are plotted on a graph paper. We get two curves, one for x-axis and another for y variables. These two curves reveals the direction and closeness of the two curves and also reveals whether or not the variables are related. If both the curves moves in the same direction, either upward or downward, correlation is said to be positive. On the other hand, if they move in opposite direction, then the correlation is said to be negative correlation. Okay, coefficient of correlation, it is a pure number, it is always lying between -1 and +1. When correlation is negative, it always lies between -1 and 0. When the correlation is positive, it lies between 0 and 1. When the correlation is 0, it indicates that there is no relationship between the variables. Properties of coefficient of correlation. Coefficient of correlations lies between -1 and +1. Symbolically, we can say that -1 less than or equal to r less than or equal to 1. It is the independent of unit of measurement. It is independent of change of origin and scale. Uses of correlation. It is used in physical and social sciences. It is useful for economists to study the relationship between variables like price, quality, etc. Businessmen estimate the cost, sales, price, etc. using correlation. It is also helpful in measuring the degree of relationship between the variables like income and expenditure, price and supply, supply and demand, etc. So it is the basis of concept of regression. Thank you.